Hi, I'm your host Izzy Sullivan with the Charleston Battery, and today we are honored to be speaking with Gerard Walker, a key figure in the team's history. Gerard was part of the Charleston Battery's very first roster in 1993 and was a key contributor to the rise of the team's success, including the unforgettable 1996 season when the team won their very first league title. Beyond Gerard's achievements on the field, he has continued to make an impact in the Charleston community as a teacher and a coach, inspiring the next generation of players and leaders. As we celebrate Black History Month, we are eager to hear Gerard's reflections on his playing days, his transition into life after soccer, and the importance of this month to him and the broader community. Gerard, thank you so much for being here today. What was it like being part of that very first roster in 1993?
Yeah, so it was an experiment, right? They came into the community looking to form this team. Brought in, a few different prospects and decided to host an open tryouts, and, we felt like some of the local guys were good enough to be able to play at that level, and so I jumped in, put my hat in the ring, and I had a really good showing for the tryouts along with a couple other guys, one of them from Trinidad and Tobago that came up to the United States on scholarship with me, and the rest is kind of history. We were kind of like that new thing in town at that point in time. Soccer, professional soccer coming to the Low Country. So what we had was people who really bought into that push, right, of getting a new soccer team in the Low Country. We kind of laid a marker early on, just kind of struggling through the growing pains of a small club, kind of finding their way, and went from where we started in 93, as we would say in Trinidad, to where we are now, which is a fantastic organization that's kept going. Some of the best friendships that I've ever had and will continue to have in my life came from playing with the Charleston Battery.
And you started out as a brand new club, and then the 1996 season when you won that very first title. Can you tell us a little bit about your memories from that season and the team's journey to winning that title?
Yeah, we had quite a few characters on that team that made it such a joyous kind of experience. We would live and breathe the game. Outside the game, we would end up being together and hanging out. So we really created this trust, this bond that again continues throughout to today. When you have people, such as, Chris Diaz, Peter Lewis, and all of those kind of guys, Vince Jajuga, Michael Augian-Hauser, all of those folks really just created this true family, and it felt like a really big thing, and it turned out that it was really that much impactful when you look back on the history of it, that it stood for so long, that we were some of that pioneering group, that first pioneering group that brought in a national title. It was a fantastic season.
Can you tell us a little bit about your role as a teacher and a coach and what it's like to inspire local players?
Yeah, I've had multiple careers, and one of them leading into this teaching gig is that I worked at MUSC and I'm still a registered nurse, and I helped run the pediatric cath lab and the prep and recovery area for some 7 years of my stint at MUSC. So in that sense of really just truly as a nurse and as a healthcare professional caring for, and especially the young kids who before might have a death sentence when they came out from birth, given their ailments, their heart ailments that they were once they were given and the diagnosis they were given, we were now keeping these kids alive and actually giving them a long life to live ahead of themselves. So when I jumped out of nursing and being a nurse manager, this came up, and teaching made sense to me in the sense that, one, I'd be doing health sciences, which I do now. I teach health sciences, so I'm inspiring kids to go into the healthcare field because we need that as we grow older. I certainly want to have good healthcare professionals when I find myself in the hospital. And two, it was an extension of coaching, right? I was not a teacher by trade. I didn't go to school for it, but the alternative program to get into teaching that was afforded to me to get into this, what I did is I drew on my coaching hat, my coaching experience. And right off the bat, I was able to come in and truly kind of command the classroom in a way that created sort of relationships. And that kind of just, again, kept my whole process of inspiring kids in the classroom going. And then also when I started coaching here, first started with the boys. I took over the women's program last year, and I continued to coach throughout the Low Country throughout that time. And it's just a great thing to have kids come up to you who are no longer kids and have 2 or 3 children themselves, saying how impactful you were with them. And that really kind of just fuels me to keep going, and both on the field as a coach, and also in the classroom I have the same things that happen. So it's really just a win-win for me to be able to jump into teaching.
Yeah. You are an inspiration to these younger players and kids in your class. But shifting gears a little bit, we are here celebrating Black History Month. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of this month to you and how you personally recognize it?
Yeah, so it's an interesting concept, right? For me, coming from the Caribbean, came here at 19 years old. So it wasn't that, hey, we had a Black History Month in Trinidad and Tobago. However, as I've lived here, and I'm now a U.S. citizen, so it's from 19 to now almost 55. I spent a few years here, and so appreciating and understanding Black History Month goes a long way, right? It goes a long way in that, for me, what I see it as is a way to ensure that people who have come before me and before us in general, white or black, their job and their contribution to the Black experience in the United States doesn't go unnoticed or falls by the wayside. So when we think about Black History Month, we're really trying, in my opinion, thinking about who are those people that laid the groundwork before me. And some of that could easily be people who have touched me, and that's how I look at it as well, personally, to enhance my experience. So Black History Month for me doesn't really mean just the historical figures of, say, the Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, you name it, Harriet Tubman, or those people. It also means a lot of those individuals who are directly responsible for where I am today, right? And the list is long of coaches and others that actually, between Ebony City Soccer Club, Coach Ashby, Osei Chandler, who was the voice of the Battery back in the day, has done so much for the Low Country here as far as reggae, soccer, and really kind of building up the Low Country. Coach Ashby is also down at that Ebony City Soccer Club. I've coached with Coach Corey, who was also the assistant coach at on the Battery when I played. Coached with him at Bishop England. We had a nice run there back in 2005 to 2010. And Coach Lundy, who's an individual that's always dipped into his experience from Trinidad and Tobago and brought and gave a lot of people from Trinidad and Tobago the abilities to do things, and he also helped me in doing the things that I've done. So it's just a very long list of people that I see as contributors to my Black experience, and I should be giving back to as well.
In terms of giving back, what message would you like to share with younger Black athletes who are striving to follow in your footsteps?
Yeah, I'm gonna, I would say that it's certainly gotten a little bit easier because of the people who have come before them. However, you have to expect that it's going to be somewhat at times a difficult road. And so do not falter, and fall down and stay down, right? Because that's just life, right? The Black experience is can be sometimes challenging in different situations because we don't see as many of those examples around them, those younger kids. But they need to do their best to latch on to the people who support them, stay the course, and appreciate those experiences because it really just makes them that much more resilient. And I really enjoy seeing young Black athletes shoulder to shoulder with their counterparts from the United States, Canada, Iceland, all these different things, showing that their culture also matters and can mesh in within the experience and the total American experience. So I would say keep pushing to those young kids who are coming through.
That was a beautiful message, Gerard. Do you want to share anything else with us?
Yeah, no, I would like, again, to thank the Charleston Battery, people like Tony Baca, Nigel Cooper, and all of those guys who kind of laid the groundwork for the Charleston Battery. gave me an opportunity to really kind of show what I was about, and really kind of brought me into the circle at the table, and I've really enjoyed the experience as a player for the Charleston Battery, and it's something that always is looked back upon for me fondly in my memory, and it's a feather that I put in my cap consistently. So I love that experience, and I really appreciate that experience.
Thank you, Gerard, and thank you for being here.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.